This is Ponder Darling, My Busted Heart, and I'm making a video about the topic of washing my brain. And here's what I mean. You know, a lot of people, including myself, often wonder, why the hell do I do this YouTube channel? I don't have a lot of hits. What's the point? What's the whole point of it? I even ask myself that sometimes, and especially like when I look confused, I take videos off, I put them back up, I put repetitive videos up, I'm talking about Jefferson, I contradict myself. Yeah, lots of weirdness. And I am aware that it's all weird, and I keep doing it because I need to do it for myself. Now, that might sound strange and it might sound selfish, but if you knew me, you knew what an introvert I am and how self-effacing I am, and how I'm not a selfish person at all. In fact, I don't really take much time at all for myself, and I don't do much for myself. I do a lot for everybody else. And in fact, you know, part of the reason why I made this video, this channel, is because I wanted to reach out to other people as well. But I want to go back to the very beginning, because I want to talk about why I started this. And then I'll say why I keep doing it. But here's why I started it. When Jefferson left, I was really confused. Really confused. Yeah, and yes, even more than I am now. I was super confused. As I've shared before, you know, the day before we were, you know, in paradise with his friends, he's telling everybody that he's going to marry me. He's introducing me as the woman who saved his life. And then the next day, he's punishing me with a silent treatment, which, you know, caused me to panic really hard, to which he responded with packing up all his things and leaving, screaming at me. Jefferson and I have never really fought. I mean, we've argued, and I've like kind of flipped out sometimes, but like, we've never really had like these huge fights. I think he was always afraid of it. So like, that was one of the reasons why I really believed like that he was, you know, the greatest, because he never screamed at me until that day. And I just thought, you know, oh, he just snapped, you know, it was difficult coming home. It's hard, you know, when you're in this beautiful paradise and then you have to come home and go back to living your shitty life. You know, so I just thought, you know, he's gonna, you know, eventually he'll snap out of it. And then when it became clear that he wasn't ever gonna snap out of it, I was really confused. I didn't know. I didn't understand. I didn't know. And I started the channel really, and I know I've shared this before, I started the channel really as a way to talk, because he didn't want me to talk to him. He would get agitated whenever I would try to talk to him about what was going on. And so, and I needed to talk. I needed to process it. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just make, I'll just make this YouTube channel, mostly to kind of like give this space where it was like, okay, if you ever want to hear what I need to say, here it is. I know that he watched like one or two of my videos. I don't know what else he has watched, if anything. So that was, basically a big bust. And then what I started doing is I started researching like broken hearts, just being dumped and broken hearts. And I stumbled on this information about narcissists. And at first, I made 2 videos where I say very, very clearly, I don't think Jefferson is a narcissist, because he's not an overt narcissist. And I didn't know anything about covert narcissists. And I really always thought that narcissists were like successful. So that, the fact that he just, he's not a successful person, made me think he couldn't be a narcissist. I always thought of them as being much higher functioning. And the other cluster Bs that I've known in my life have been really hard workers. So, I just have never known a lazy narcissist. And, so I didn't, and plus he never really, other than when we were teenagers, when he idealized me as a teenager, he never really love bombed me. He just mostly like ignored me. He was never abusive in terms of like attacking me. He, his biggest thing was to like give me the silent treatment and ignore me, which I just thought was like this quirky, like autistic thing. I didn't really realize that was part of, like that he was doing it really like to punish me, until I really thought about it and I read about it, and I was like, oh, that's what he did. He did that to punish me. He was doing it on purpose to punish me. And so there were things about him that were not congruent with like what I knew about narcissists, despite the fact, and I know I've said this before, I have been through the DSM-5. I have looked at the 9 criteria. I have looked at them in detail, repeatedly. He meets all 9 of the 9. So, and I knew that, I knew that a long time ago, and I just, I kind of just brushed it off. There was times when I thought he was BPD, and we actually talked about that, and he admitted that he did meet that criteria. But people with BPD are able to attach. They also do have empathy for others. They do care about other people. They're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, crazy, and they do all sorts of cuckoo things, but they're not cold-blooded. That's the bottom line anyway. They may seem cold-blooded, and they can certainly be mean, but they're not. But in the end, they actually do care about people, and they don't want to break a bond with somebody. Like a narcissist just will like cut you out of their life and be like, you're dead. You're dead. I killed you. So, I went through, months and months of washing my brain, trying to figure out what had really happened and to wash away this story that I had apparently told myself about Jefferson that wasn't even true, that we were soulmates, that we were meant to be together. It was clear that it wasn't true because, you know, he didn't even care enough about me to tell me, you know, why he wasn't speaking to me. You know, like a normal person would at least be like, yeah, I'm going to go with, you know, the Twinkie over here. I don't want to be with you anymore. Or, you know, but no, he has never once said to me that he doesn't want to be with me or that he does want to be with me. He just like left me dangling. And I actually have gotten to the point where I know that I'm just never going to know. And it doesn't even matter really, because in the end, you know, it's enough to know that all of his behavior meets the patterns of somebody with narcissism. That's all I need to know, is that's what he is. And like I said in my autism and narcissism video, that's just too much to handle. It's too much for anybody to handle. And, you know, I mean, even if he wasn't a narcissist, he obviously like doesn't want to be loved. Because, you know, here is this person who, you know, I told me that I was the love of his life, and then he doesn't want to be with me. He wants to be with somebody else or alone, or, you know, would rather die than be with me. That's all, you know, that is pathological. That's pathological. Nobody does that unless they have a serious mental illness. You know, when you love somebody, you love them. And if you don't, and you're going to play games with them and play cat and mouse with them and hurt them on purpose, that's mental illness. And, you know, I was always like, it's okay, you know, we all have our brokenness, we all have our problems, but the important thing is to address them and work on them. And you have to look at yourself and realize that, you know, you've made a huge mess out of your life and that it's going to take work. So back to the washing my brain. One of the first things I did was get off all chemicals that could possibly alter the chemistry in my brain. Everything. All anxiety medication, sugar, cigarettes, alcohol, any kind of behavior that would change my brain chemistry, anything that would invoke dopamine or oxytocin kind of responses, you know, heavy kind of things. I got rid of all of that. And it was really hard. The first month, 2 months, it was just sheer hell, because I didn't know how to function without something to mitigate that pain. So I was in searing pain. But I got through it, and I got to the point where like my brain started to get clear. And it's not 100% clear. It's still going to it takes time. I mean, when the brain can change. There is this whole science of neuroplasticity that is just flipping amazing. And it's about how you can change your brain. Anybody can change, but it takes work and time and consistency. You have to keep working on it. You can't just snap your finger. And, you know, a lot of people just want to, they don't want to do the work. it's just too much. It's too overwhelming. They want to just be able to take a pill or, have sex with somebody or, and then they're fine. That's not life. That's not how things work. So I did that. And then I worked my ass off on myself. I worked so hard. I did so much. And if you want to see all the things that I did, watch my video Moving On from the Narcissist. I did all of those things. All of those things that I outline in the description. I did them all. I go to meetings every day. I have 2 therapists. I have a mentor. I have a coach. I have constant support. That's what is needed. That's what you need to change. You have to, it's the battle of your life. This is the battle of my life, because that there is nothing in the world that I have ever wanted more in my life than to be in a relationship with somebody that I feel super connected to, that I love, and who loves me back. Nothing. Not money, not fame, nothing. Just love. Love. Love is what I wanted. So when I had that, or thought I had that with Jefferson, and then I lost it, it was the hugest, most horrific loss of my life. I have never, ever experienced such a terrible loss. I have experienced a lot of brutality. As I said, my ex-psychopath, my son's father, was and is brutal to me. But nothing in the world is worse than having your dream, your heart's desire, and losing it, and then learning that you really never had it, that it was just an illusion. It was just something that you made up in your head. It reminds me of Beautiful Mind. Beautiful Mind, where the guy realizes that these people that he's close to, that he loves, are imaginary. And then they're still there. They're still there, and he has to walk on and ignore them. That's how it is with me. That story of Jefferson is still there. It's still in my mind. And I have to keep walking on with that story, that illusion, walking next to me. And I have to keep telling myself it's not real. So the washing of the brain it takes a lot of time. And I know that, anybody who's been following me this whole time knows that I seem very, very confused, and I'm not going to apologize for that. I knew going into this that I was going to be authentic. I was going to tell the truth. And sometimes that means making myself look like an idiot. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, because in the end, the truth is, I am stronger now than I have ever been in my life, because I don't use anything, nothing, to ease the pain. I am 100% clean and natural. And so everything I face, the power to face that comes from inside me. It doesn't come from anything outside of me at all. It comes from inside me. I am the warrior. So that's my story. Thanks.